Welcome everyone. I have a special guest. We have Brandon here with us, and she's going to share a little bit about her journey, how she went from here to here. And I'm so excited that she said yes to this, to share her story. I know she was a little bit hesitant, she's a little bit nervous, but we're going to dive right in. So, Brandon, why don't you start by telling everyone in this community? By the way, they're going to let us know if they're here joining us at the time this is being released or if they're joining us later. But I'd love for every woman to kind of tell us, who's tuning into Brandon's story today. It's her stories, usually it's me, it's her story today. So Brandon, why don't you start by telling everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sure, no problem. Hi, everyone. My name's Brandon. Today is my 43rd birthday, and I'm excited to be here. Yeah, I'm a woman, obviously a mother, a professional engineer, and someone who struggles with her weight for most of her life. So
Yeah, you have two kids,
I do.
and you sometimes take on exchange students as well.
Yes, we
Yeah.
take during the school year, we take on internationals. We love them.
Yeah, okay, and she's married, and so
Yes,
let's go
wife.
back. Let's go back to that very first kind of day, and you had reached out, and it was a pretty emotional call, actually. I remember
Brutal.
that call, and so just kind of paint the picture of where you were at for women, because I think it's going to resonate a lot with other women.
I can honestly say I was emotional, broken, it felt like. Um, Struggled with my weight and was tired of it. My joke had always been for the last 12 years is I'm tired of looking 6 months pregnant and who's 12. So that frustrated me that my stomach led the way, but it also held me back. And I guess by the time we met, I had been through, oh my God, what diets hadn't I tried, right? Was it gluten free? Was it keto? Was it the pink drink? Was it starving myself? Like everything. Um, and nothing was really helping.
Yeah, and I remember on that call when we had talked, some light bulbs went off. There were some connections that we had made when we had talked things through because it was offering you a different way of looking at things. That you tried many things, but what we
Mhm.
haven't tried was adding the element of mindset into that. Now, mindset is a big word that gets used all the
Mhm.
time. What was it for you? What is this mindset piece for you?
Um, I I think I think like you said, it was a word. It was I didn't understand it at the time. Um, I'm still learning what it means to me, but to be honest, it definitely changed the outlook. It's yeah, it's this moment. It's what am I doing right now? But what do I look like in the future? It's that mindset of what am I eating? What am I drinking? What exercise am I doing? How do I feel? Connecting it all together as how do I like it all works together on who I am. I think that's for me, that's what it now means.
Yeah.
Then it was, what are you talking about, Cindy? Like we had a connection that I don't know, you were very open and we were open through the whole process. To be honest, like the connection helped to build that, but the mindset was just,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
Right, because you were stuck in the story of like, no, this
Yep.
is what I've always done, this is what I've known, and so it took us a bit, and then piece by piece, it was like it unraveled to be like, oh, now I'm understanding why cravings are showing up, or why emotional eating shows up, or
Mm-hmm.
why, sometimes I feel good about exercise and sometimes I can't get on the motivation train. Like then it started to connect all those pieces. So start off. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
like when we coach together, there are a couple of pillars. So there's nutrition, the exercise, there's stress and sleep. So basically the lifestyle, but then there's the mindset and then the accountability. So let's start with nutrition. So you had started with all of these different diets to lose weight. What did you learn about food and you?
Um, I think the big one is I don't need a lot to survive through the process, right? Like my portions were just way too big for what I needed to consume and what I was doing. So I definitely did not have the deficit that I needed, and you helped me kind of align that as well as I always thought I was doing a good job, but portions come down to it as well as um connecting the fact that I didn't need to have the treat every time. Like I could still have the experience. So for me, I think that's most of it. I know you're thinking of something.
Yeah, I am thinking about it because you just nailed it on the head, like you said, experience. And so I like that because it's like I very much remember in the beginning it was like introducing kind of like sugar and stuff. Like usually you don't have a coach that's watching you eat sugar or whatever, right? And
Yes.
talking about that. And I remember we worked on that because it was like, okay, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Do you feel like the pull to go have more or what have you? And we worked through those components. And it's not like when we coached together for 12 weeks, you weren't eating those things, which were you were used to being either all perfect or not at all. And now we were trying to
Hmm.
figure out what that balance looks like. So can you just talk a little bit about that? Because that's what I hear from women is women always tell me like, if I have a little bit, then I can't stop thinking about it or I can't stop eating it or whatever. And here you are, like you had your curling nights where you were
Hmm.
social, there was drink time and there was restaurant time. You
Yep.
had kids sports where you were going out and eating, and you had exchange students who were exposing you to their culture as well, and you were taking them out. There were many opportunities within that.
Hmm.
A lot of women don't know how to balance that out. So how did it work for you?
Um, I think it's a learning in progress. So I'm not perfect at it for sure. Like it's not meant to be perfect, but for me it was like just cutting back, right? Like, on pizza night at curling, I could either say no or I could have that one piece if I worked it into the amount of food I was eating for the day. Same with the drink. Like I didn't need to have the drink. I was still part of the social activity of being there and being part of the conversation. So cutting back was not a big deal. Once I realized that I was still participating, I was still part of it. Same with the exchange students, right? Like they would make things and I learned to eat better pasta, right? Reading the ingredients on the back of the package definitely changed our lives. As well as just having a little bit and then balancing it with the other stuff that I need to eat, making sure my vegetables were up and making sure my protein was high. So I was still part of the experience. I just had a lot less than I need, right?
I like that you highlighted that too because you keep going back to the experience whereas before it was like the food was the experience, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
like I have to be social, everybody else is being social and therefore in order to be social I need to do these things. But then we started to explore like, well, let's just try it and see if you didn't do those things,
Yeah.
could you still be social? So that we could actually unpack why was what was happening. And what you realized was like, hey, I actually can enjoy myself equally as much, if not more, when I don't feel like I'm pushing my food to the limit and then feeling like, oh, why did I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that obviously connects the mindset too, because like sometimes when at the beginning, I probably would have eaten something and then gone through like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that or been very negative and hard on myself. And now it's like, no, I can have that bite and enjoy it slowly, mindfully, be part of the social activity. But I also noticed like even with food in general, having dinner, it's not the last time I'm ever going to eat that, right? So it's not that I have to have more. I can make it another day. We can pick that up another time. I can have a little bit and enjoy it. Um, it's really the mind game.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that because we said we separated food from experience, right? Food is an
Hmm.
experience, but we were able to separate what was actually important and of value to you. And you're saying like, hey, I got rid of that FOMO. I was
Yeah,
telling myself I was never going to eat this again, but in reality, it's like, yes, I am going to do
yeah,
that. So
absolutely.
then I want to know, because you have two kids, you're
I
married,
do.
I want to know how does what you learned and applied to nutrition, what you're practicing, how is it transferred into your kids and your family?
A couple different ways for sure. You know, we talk about mindfully and eating slowly. At the beginning of the process, I'd pull my phone out and set my timer, just to slow myself down. And there were a couple nights I didn't do it for whatever reason. So I practiced and tried, and my kids would be like, "Mom, where's the timer?" Oh, okay, let me go get it. Like I don't know if they were slowing down because of it, or they just knew, hey, mom's better because of this, or something. I don't know, but they connected it obviously. And then other things like they try different things, so we'd have more vegetables and they'd eat it, as well as you know, because I'm not having the treats and stuff, even though they're eating it, it's slowed down. And now, I am proud to say that my husband's lost significant weight in the last month and a half. We've lost 40 pounds, which is huge. As well as we have more our time because we walk about 3.5 to 4 clicks a day together.
Yeah, which wasn't what you guys were doing
No,
before.
not at all.
Yeah, yeah. So I love that. And then did you have to cook separate meals from your family, or how did that work?
Nope, I'm the main cooker, and so the rules in this house is you eat what's made, or you try it at least, and so everybody ate whatever I was eating. Their portions may have been a little bit bigger, or they would notice that I was eating slower. But yeah, no, I continue to eat the same things as my family. I just ate less of it because that's all I needed because I was eating slowly and mindfully that I hit my limit, or I just knew, no, let's stop here and we'll see what later brings.
Yeah. And then talk about cravings because women are hearing I'm eating less and they already feel like they're eating less, right? And then it's hunger
Yeah.
and cravings. So why was this different? Talk about the hunger and cravings, or why was eating less different than all the other times where you try to eat less?
Hmm. Um, Probably because you don't have it like the sugar kind of makes it automatic want. Your body wants it and wants more of it. And so when you have that mindset that you're going to try a little bit and have a little bit, you enjoy it and you put it away. Like I didn't need anymore, or I didn't need that piece, or I could take a half of something or a quarter of something and enjoy it with no problem. So I think my body was like, oh, well, we don't need that to survive on. Like you're full. Like, it tells me what I need, right? Like I'm not overdoing it.
Yeah, I
Yep.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, because like probably even for you and a lot for women is they'll deny themselves those foods, and then the craving gets louder and louder and louder because
Hmm.
as soon as you say I can't and you're like I'm 43, I'm pretty sure I can.
Yeah.
It's like it gets louder and louder, right? And it's that denial of the food that increases
Hmm.
the cravings, or it's one of the reasons. But for you,
Yep.
it's like all about permission, right?
Yep.
But it's understanding, well, why am I having that, or what do I need? Because there was a period of time when we were coaching together where there was stress. So it's understanding, okay,
Oh
well,
yeah.
it's coming from this. It's not really coming from that. So let's move on to exercise there.
Okay.
So, okay, so you've had all of these previous attempts to try and lose weight. So what worked for you in terms of movement?
I For me, it's right now just the walking and enjoying that. I am still dealing with an injury, but working with physio to get it back. But I'm a walker, so putting on the running shoes. Whether if it's crappy outside, I'll go down on the treadmill. If it's nice outside, my husband and I will go for a walk most nights, unless I'm playing ball, and I have noticed significant increase in just feeling better at ball because I have lost the weight. Especially during the summer. And then during the winter, I noticed a big difference with curling. My knees weren't hurting as much. But for me, it's hitting that 3, 4 clicks a night, or at least 5 times a week. And sometimes it's less because I just don't feel like doing it. But it's like, nope, I need a little bit. So whatever that is, whether that's 30 minutes on the treadmill to just get up and get moving and take that imperfect action to try and keep myself moving because I deserve it. It makes me feel good, and that's okay.
And I got to imagine that that's pretty different than what you were used to, because most women tell me like it's about like they gotta hit a certain amount of workouts or hit a heart rate target, or like get super sweaty. It's about the intensity. And here you're saying, I'm walking. Not to say that you're not doing an intensity, not to say
Hmm.
that you're not doing a heart, but I got to think that that's got to be a different mind frame than where you came from.
Yeah, I think it is. Is it perfect? Probably not. Could I do better? Yes. But for me, this gets me moving and this makes me happy. And even at my work, I've added in take the stairs 3 times a week. So I work on the fifth floor. So I'm doing my best to take the stairs to the fifth floor, and I can do it without stopping now.
Yeah.
So like I've been added things into my life that nope, I can do this 3 times a week. I can, walk even a little bit, but keep moving because it makes me feel good. And for me, I think it was mindset and portion size.
Yeah. But I do like that though, one, it's like it's connected to you to your husband, like you guys are doing more
Hmm.
walks as well. So you're having that bonding time. Two, I know
Yes.
from coaching you that your walking also helped you with maybe being a better parent, like just having that
Oh yeah,
reset time for yourself so that it served that purpose as well, that you got to go
absolutely.
inward and then show up as a whole person, I guess. And
Hmm.
then I like that you're looking at it as like little windows, like taking the stairs doesn't necessarily add more time. It's not like another to do on your list. It's like
Hmm.
you're already there. You're just choosing a different option to get there, right?
Yep.
So you're looking for these like little windows versus thinking like it's got to be an hour and it's got to be this. And I got to tell you, ladies, that she's lost a significant amount of weight. And we're talking 1.5 months post coaching, and she's
Yeah.
still maintaining the weight. But we're gonna share with you the best part out of all that in a minute. So, okay, so while we were coaching though, and then you're working
Hmm.
on yourself. So
Yep.
some women feel guilty about taking time for themselves in doing this. And but what I want to highlight for you is how did it change the way you showed up as a wife, showed up at work, or showed up in parenting?
Well, Cindy's wonderful, and this must have been at the right moment because she caught me in the middle of probably a huge low, and my imposter syndrome was screaming at me, but I wasn't noticing. Others around me were, but I wasn't. So Cindy helped me through that. So it it was like eye opening between the training at work and Cindy coaching and talking about it. I was able to catch myself, be better in all aspects because my mindset was better, my movement was better, my food was better. I wasn't like overcompensating in different areas. It's more of a balanced wheel, from one of the exercises, but it's definitely a more balanced wheel. Um, Sometimes things take a little bit more from every level, but I the confidence built. I don't know. It was kind of all of it. It's okay to take time for myself, even though I was obviously taking time for myself, but now it was more mindful on me and what do I need to kind of regroup and do the next day.
Yeah, and one of the things that you did during our coaching was you were applying for a new position, same company, just a level up. And
Yeah,
that's where your imposter syndrome kind of really showed up as you were
yeah.
doubting your capabilities and everything about you. And that was one of the calls that you're referencing is that we got on the call and we worked through all of that. And now old you probably would have gave up. I gave up the walking, gave up the eating, but this new you was still showing up. But
Hmm.
now it was like this layer of whirlwind, imposter stress that was kind of
Yeah.
circulating around it. And so we needed to kind of walk through and kind of separated it all out so that it didn't feel like it was this overflowing bucket of like endless overwhelm, right? That it could just be,
Yep.
okay, let's figure out what the buckets are at play here and what we need in each bucket.
Hmm.
Did I get that right?
I think so. Yep, for sure. And I got the job, which was good because it was like I needed it and I needed this app and it was good. But absolutely, like it's crazy how it showed up in all aspects.
Yeah, and it's how do I want to say this? Like someone who is feeling like where you were feeling in the beginning wouldn't see that. But I get
Hmm.
to witness it all the time, how it like starts to connect in other areas of your life. When you get the right mindset in play at the same time, I get to witness how it like affects somebody's relationship, how that changes, or parenting, how that changes, or like how their work or their career changes as well. But when you're at the spot where you were feeling it like way when we first started, it's so
Hmm.
hard to see all that.
Oh yeah, it's totally entrained. And now like I'll find myself like every once in a while catching myself going, "Whoa, feeling a little overwhelmed. Why? Where is it? Where's it coming from? Is it something I missed, or is it something I'm doing, or is it work, or is it kids?" And I go, "Whoa, time out. Let's find it. Take a
Yes.
breath, take a walk, get some water, and then just restart again."
Yeah, I love that. Just taking the pause, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. And so one of the exercises we did was a future self exercise. So this is an exercise that we do at the very end of coaching where there's a series of things that we're doing, but the very last part of the exercise is we're writing a letter to our future self. And you said that was the really eye-opening for you. So can you kind of just like, what was so eye-opening?
Um, well, I can honestly say I procrastinated right to the end. Was number one. Number two is I couldn't connect myself with my future self, and I was struggling to write it. What does it look like? What does it mean on paper? What is it? How do you get that out? And so I was at a work conference and was doing well, and everything was good. And I went back to my room and I Googled, what does this mean? How do I figure out what this means? And there were two websites that came to the light, and it was about addictions and whether you remove the word addiction and put in food, alcohol, anything, they all are part of that, right? But we talk about your future self and connecting it, and until you connect what your future self wants with your current self to make the sacrifices or the changes or the tweaks or the whatever, you'll never get there. And so obviously with getting this job, I want to be a supervisor and manager as my career progresses and finishes. But I had to make those changes today. And so, or even with my food and nutrition, if I want to be 20 pounds lighter, if I want to be, you know, happier movement or whatever, I have to connect what that means in the future with today so that I can make the changes and not feel like it's a sacrifice, but it's what I want. And so to me, that exercise was like mind boggling. And I think by 4 pages later, it was connecting everything, right? It's talking about where my daughter is in a couple years, where my son is, but where we are today to get to that spot, or even enjoying the moment of where I am at that experience of losing 20 pounds and feeling amazing, but enjoying the moment today and deciding, do I want 10 more pounds in the future? Okay, well then I need to make those connections today to make that happen. Or if I want to be that manager, what trainings do I need today to get there? Or telling people what I want so that I can work towards it. So to me, that exercise was like eye-opening.
I love that. I love that because not a lot of people take the time, one, like you said, dedicated time. You said four
Mhm.
pages. You said dedicated time to get clear on what your future self is. And there's this really great saying, I don't know if it's a saying or a quote, but it's something along the lines of the discipline today makes it easier down the road. Meaning, like if you put in the discipline right now, then you need less of it later because you've already built the
Mhm.
path to get there. You've already built the solid foundation to get there, and then you get to like reap what you sow basically. And so right now we're planting seeds,
Mhm.
we're nurturing them, we're doing all that, and then there you get to live in the light of whatever it is that you grew. And so that's kind of how the saying goes, and you just did a perfect kind of way of explaining it in the sense of like I got clear on where I wanted to be here, and then
Yep.
I was able to take a step back and see like how this gets me here. So it isn't about, some women will say like, I was doing really well, then I stepped on the scale, it wasn't working, so oh, I blew it all, like why bother?
Mhm.
It's not working. For you now, it's connected on a deeper level because now you understand like, no, every time I do it, I'm planting a seed so that I
Mhm.
can reap what I sow later on. And you've
Absolutely.
connected the two. And some people and some women will even explain to me like they feel really disconnected from their future self, like it feels light years away. And I could argue that it feels light years away because we're not looking at what we're doing today. We're still not doing the things today to make us here, and therefore it continues to feel light years away. What do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nope, for sure. Because I wasn't. It wasn't connected. It wasn't showing up. It wasn't. Yeah. It just all of it, right? Today I'm making those steps. Like, tonight I'll go for my 4K walk and enjoy it. And because I know that'll make me feel better for the future. And we're taking the steps of our relationship, my husband and I, and all that stuff, right? If I'm walking by myself, it's a chance to reflect and kind of listen to a Cindy podcast. Uh, it's true. Like they're a perfect 30-minute walk.
Mhm.
But it really does give you a chance to kind of ponder and think about it and get that. action going.
Yeah. So, okay, so we finished coaching. So, like I
Hmm.
said, we're talking to Brandon a month and a half later, and here's the biggest thing. So, a month and a half later, she's
Yep.
sustained her habits and she sustained her weight. Now, she'll be perfectly honest and tell you that it hasn't been perfect, but
Yep.
she sustained it. Then, the whole thing was that at the very end, she was going on this planned first time family European vacation.
Yes.
It was 2 weeks or 10 days?
16 days.
16 days. So she's going on a 16-day European vacation and comes back 1 pound heavier. One
Yep.
pound heavier after a 16-day European vacation. And now, just before this call, she was telling me, because we were catching up and she was telling me about all the trip. And so
Hmm.
tell me how, tell the women how,
Yeah.
us coaching together through the 12 weeks, you working on everything over the 12 weeks, how that changed your European vacation experience with your family.
I can honestly say it made the experience that much better. So it was 16 days, 4 countries, 9 train rides, 187 kilometers walked, 280,000 steps that I probably couldn't have taken half of it where I was before the coaching, or even my husband, 30 pounds heavier, couldn't have done with all the steps and the ups and the downs and the movement. Like it even changed just our outlook on let's enjoy the experience. Um, sitting on the train, going from country to country, taking a breath and going, hey guys, how was yesterday? Who needs what? Checking in, drinking water. Um, we tried everything, but never felt like we had given up anything. And to come back, pollen, um, to come back like 1 pound heavier was like, damn, we did it. Like it was fun and we'll do it again. The kids were great. I probably couldn't have done all the flights of stairs down the catacombs and back up without losing the weight because I felt heavy and I probably would have changed what we would have done if if I was heavier, right? This way I could do the 5 flights of stairs down to the catacombs in Paris or walk the Champs-Elysees from one end to the other without stopping. Um, yeah, it kind of was like icing
Even
without eating the icing.
yeah, even your kids were very much like, this is a lot of walking. Can we take
Yes.
a break? It wasn't you guys telling the kids we can't walk. It was them telling you like we
Yeah,
can't keep.
mom, we're tired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, because at the very beginning of us talking, you were talking about, hey, your knees were really sore when you were curling, getting up and down, and then same with
yeah,
baseball and stuff. And then here you are saying like, oh, wow, I did all of those kilometers, all of those steps, all of that travel adventure, and that's not was what was top of mind. That's not how I was feeling in my body. You also said, hey, I enjoyed everything, all
yep,
foods, all countries. I didn't hold myself back, but I also didn't feel the need to kind of overdo it. Like I didn't
nope,
have that fear of missing out.
yeah. No, we were in the moment enjoying it. I tried everything that was given to us. We even robbed a chocolate store, and I joked about that. But in Switzerland, we were at Lynn Chocolate, and we picked reasonable amounts, but ended up bringing home a lot more. But we'd have a little bit and put it away, the whole family. So to be honest, we enjoyed all of it. It was great.
Yeah. So, okay, so now just to kind of wrap it up, what would you tell the Brandon from 5 months ago? What would you tell her standing where you are right
Do it. Because I know I question it, right? It's money, it's time for me, it's all that stuff. I'll have to put time into it to get what I want out of it. My dog is going to join us. Um, you know, do it, do it. Um, yeah. And now I think it's really fun because I even see friends on Facebook or on other platforms, and they're all like, has everybody tried the drink? Has everybody tried this diet? And I'm going, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. I just need to know, that my portions are within reason. I'm drinking my water. I'm getting my activity, um, and I'm good.
Yeah, it just takes the whole questioning, overwhelm, fear of missing out right out of the equation, right? It's
Absolutely.
you're just so sure in who you are and like what you're doing and where you're going. That's
Absolutely.
like the golden ticket, you know what
Yeah, and I think my husband was questioning it too, right? Like in a year from now, like he said, I don't want to be having this conversation again. And I think he's noticed, and obviously he's made changes, seeing the changes I've made.
I mean? Mhm.
So, like, I know the fear that we had is gone. We just got to keep working at it daily, and that's okay.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to women who are feeling like you felt back then?
Start listening to Cindy's podcast, get to know her, and then try. Definitely try. It was worth it. It was worth the work. It was worth the time put in. She invests in time with you also, which is worth it. Even when she's texting you really annoying questions, um, she's really good at them. And you go, I don't want to answer this right now. You know what? It makes you pause and think and go, yep, you're right. So absolutely do it.
I get that a lot, my questions.
I think we all said it, but
Yeah.
they work. But they work, right? Or even when your response back, this isn't about me. And I was like, damn, she caught me again. But no,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah, and for me, my coaching style is very much questions because it's about getting you to get to the place to where you want to be. And then sometimes it's like, no, I disagree. Sometimes, no, it's not that. And then it's like, I get to see the whole thought process behind it, right? And it's like, there it is, there's
Hmm.
that thing that we've been, denying ourselves from. So yeah, they are hard. Even my husband sometimes is like, why? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and then what would you say to a woman who's just like she's struggling? Like what would you say would be like the most valuable? Like if there was just like one step she could take that would be like the thing that would catapult all the other ones, what would you say that would be?
Um, start today.
Mhm.
Start today because it's really all of it, right? It's just I had the pieces. You helped me put it together, though, in a better puzzle.
Yeah.
For me. Yeah, I just try, listen to her podcast, get to know her, and all the different people she brings in to help you, um, because it's great, and you know, I see her in my future, especially. I expect other pieces of your podcast to come to me with premenopausal and all that other stuff because that's coming. So I'm learning every day with you, and I think everybody should.
Jeez. Well, that was good.
It's true though. Like even today, like if I struggle, I could message you and be like, "Hey, just need a minute."
Yeah.
And I think you honestly would find a minute to say, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
And I truly think that's great for us women as a just as a women to have each other's back. And I even noticed that in my daughter's sports that she plays. Some of it is very negative, and I'm just like, dude, we don't need that. We can do this a hell of a lot more positive and make these women a lot better.
Yeah.
So
I love it
thank
because
you.
you just pointed out too how it's trickling into other areas as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you get to show up, be somebody different. Not be somebody different, be somebody more in alignment and more whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not different. You're not a completely
No.
different. Yeah. No, I take that back.
All good.
Well, thanks so much, Brandon, for showing up and sharing your journey with us. And it's not often do I get to talk to women like 1.5 months later. So it was exciting to see like you coming back from that trip and you talking and still being like, I'm still taking imperfect action consistently,
Absolutely.
and I'm still living in as the person I want to be in alignment with that future self. So thanks so much for sharing your story.
Thanks for having me.